Well, hello, Krav Maga martial arts community, our leadership community, friends and following that are listening to this podcast. I'm really excited today because I have a very special guest. So, Bill, I'm going to call you Bill, Richard, but Bill is what you like to be called.
Yes, sir.
Bill Gregoire is the district chief for the Newport Richey Fire Department. He's also the EMS chief and infection control officer for the entire city. And of course, the part that, that's awesome because we got a great leader on here with us today. And of course, the other reason he's on here with us today is because he also happens to be a future black belt in our black belt leadership program. And honestly, Bill, in transparency, actually, I'll kick off the thing by saying the reason I thought to ask you to be on this thing is because you're just always so infectiously enthusiastic every time I see you at the dojo.
That.
You just like you exude attitude of gratitude and you're excited and everything. You actually go out of your way to seek me out and say, I just want to tell you again how much I love coming here.
It's the truth. I absolutely do. It's people talk about their happy place. That is my happy place, being there training with you guys.
Oh, that's awesome. That is awesome. Thank you, sir. Well, thank you for being with us today. And as I said, I'm looking forward to hearing from you in all the capacities because, like I said, you already have a very important leadership role and position. So it's appropriate to interview you on my leadership podcast. Now, about your position of leadership, what are some of the things that is that if there are, what would be some of the things that are the lessons that we teach and that you have said it resonate with you that also are applicable and that you get to apply in your day-to-day business?
Well, I think your principles of your black belt, courtesy, modesty, integrity, your perseverance, self-control, and your indomitable spirit. I think that's not only a principle of black belt, but I think it's a principle of leadership in general, and I think a principle of life in general. I utilize a lot of those in my day-to-day activities at work, my day-to-day activities in life. I try to instill those in my children and my employees, for that matter. So I think it's a very important, I guess, kind of concept that it's not only pertains to what we're doing at the dojo, it pertains to just life in general.
Absolutely. I've often thought and said, because I say most things that I think, but that, the black belt is, yes, of course, you also are getting in great shape and learning great self-defense, but it's such an analogy for leadership, right? It's
completely.
In every area of our
completely.
life. At least the way we do it. So speaking of the dojo and Krav Maga martial arts, my school, what made you decide to join in the first place?
So it was a decision that didn't come lightly. I had been toying with the idea for about 4 years. I had every excuse as to why I shouldn't or couldn't do it. I'd always, since I was a little kid, I wanted to become a black belt. Just always admired martial arts, always wanted to do it. But like I said, had a million excuses of why I couldn't or shouldn't or wouldn't. And I woke up one morning, let me go back a little bit. I actually called you guys about 4 years ago and made an appointment to come in for your introductory class and never made it. Again, I had all the excuses in the world to shut it down and just not come. So I didn't. Woke up one morning and I told my wife, I said, I'm done working my life away. I said, I'm going to quit one of my jobs and I'm going to make an appointment for Krav Maga and I'm going to do it. I'm going to see through it this time. I chose Krav Maga mainly because, not to sound corny, I heard you reference Cobra Kai several times in class. To me, it seems like it had that Miyagi-Do philosophy with the eagle fan attitude towards self-defense. I just want to get down to the brass tacks and the bare knuckles of self-defense. I didn't want to learn the katas or the forms or what have you. I wanted to learn how to defend myself and my family if God forbid I'm ever put into that situation. And after doing, countless hours of research online, I felt that KMMA was probably the most suitable for what I was looking for.
Wow. You hit a lot of awesome stuff there that I think is going to resonate with a lot of people. Like the thing about waiting to do it and having excuses and reasons not, I think probably resonates with a lot of people. And I think even the Cobra Kai analogy too, right? Honestly, right? Like, because that is what we have, right? We have leadership development program that also happens to teach the most practical self-defense in the world.
Right.
And but I never actually thought of it in that way before, and so I appreciate that. It was great. So let me ask you this: obviously, you love it. What do you love most about the program?
Numerous things. So like I said, going back to some of my reasons for not going, I was always afraid that I was too fat, not flexible enough, that, just any number of things that I could say that I couldn't or shouldn't do it. I was super nervous the first time going there. And when I got on there, all my fears were alleviated. Everybody is super friendly. Everybody is super helpful. I'm not expected to operate at someone else's highest level. I'm expected to operate at my own highest level. I have several injuries, past and present, stuff that I'm still dealing with. And, when the instructors know that, they're always more than willing to, make modifications to a move or to some things. That way I can do it without injuring myself further, or, just stuff like that. From yourself down to even the students, everybody is uplifting, and they're always encouraging you, and they're always, we're doing stuff. We're out there, dying. I shouldn't say dying, but for me personally, I'm dying trying to get some air. And, it's that extra encouragement, everybody clapping and calling your name and telling you keep going, you're doing it, that really drives it home, and to make you want to finish doing what you're doing. I enjoy the principles that you're instilling into the younger generation, and kind of reaffirming into the older generation. Just everything about the place is the reason why I'm there. Again, the attitudes are great. There's the constructive criticism is wonderful. I can go on and on, but it's a great environment for learning. It's a great environment for physical toughness. It's a great environment for mental toughness. And you guys do a great job at trying to foster and enhance all of those aspects.
Thanks, sir. And we sure are honored to have you. As a leader yourself, what's your opinion of the leadership training program?
I think it's something that we desperately need, and I think you're doing a fantastic job, and kind of utilizing it. Like I said, I think in the world today, we live in an instant gratification society. We live in a society that doesn't respect much anymore. I have rookies that at the department, they start day one, and they want the same respect and that a 10-year guy might have, or they want the same privileges that a 10-year guy might have. So I really think, I mentioned before, our core values, maybe in a private conversation, I'm not sure about this conversation, our core values align very well with my own. And, I think the leadership program helps instill those core values into a generation that it might be lost on, if not for, the work of you and your instructors and other people that are buying into this program and making it work.
As hearing you talk about it in that way, so inspirational to me. Thank you. And you nailed so many things. Like, I was just having that exact talk with my youngest son, a couple of days ago about, I'm sure most fathers have this talk with their sons, right? Like, at some point where you're like,
yeah, absolutely.
Where you're like, look, your mom and dad are the only people that love you and want to give to you unconditionally and all these things. You need to understand the rest of the world wants something from you.
Right.
And you have to earn your way up your way up that ladder. It's not, absolutely. It's one of the things that bothers me most in some of the modern movements is the entitlement mentality, the idea that
exactly
you step into something instead of having to work your way through it, because it's not reality.
No.
Right? Not that it bothers us for any other reason. It's just that that's not how it really works.
Right. And I think, these core values that you're instilling, it's great for the dojo, but it's the real life where it's really going to pay dividends to them.
Oof. I agree. Thank you. It's a quick question for you, actually, because I know one of your main motivations is fitness. Do you got any success stories yet to report in that arena?
I do. So I wish my success story had continued, but it's not. It's my own fault that it hasn't. So when I first started, I knew that I had to make a lot of changes in life, and I knew I had to, eat better. I had to exercise more. I had to get my cardiovascular endurance up, and I started doing all those right off the bat. And I want to say in the first 3, maybe 4 months, I had dropped close to 35, 40 pounds.
Wow.
Right.
Wow.
I mean,
Wow.
and I owe a majority of that to just the workouts at the dojo.
That's awesome.
But then, of course, life got in the way. My mentality broke down a little bit, and I wasn't eating as clean or doing the cardiovascular exercises. And the cardiovascular part's more because of my knee injury than anything else. But the eating, that's more of a mental thing that I need to
Yeah.
overcome eventually in life. But yeah, I mean, my flexibility has increased tremendously. My cardiovascular endurance has increased moderately, and the weight has come off a little bit. And the more I come to class and the more I eat better, I'm sure the more it will continue to come off. So yeah, I mean, overall, it's been a phenomenal journey in health and fitness, and hopefully it will continue up until my black belt and beyond.
Congratulations on what you've accomplished so far, but even more your commitment to the long-term goal. And I mean, I have no doubt you're going to be a fit and awesome and inspirational black belt success story up there on stage here in a couple more years.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, yes, sir, it's true. And we talked about a lot of great stuff already. If you had any advice to give either to younger students at the dojo or specifically to people that don't come to the dojo yet, or you just had some general advice, wisdom to share with our listening audience before we close, and I know that's a very general question on purpose. Like, is some more wisdom you'd like to share with the audience?
Well, I don't know if I'd per se call it wisdom, but as far as the younger students that are already at the dojo, just continue to work hard and improve. Don't compare yourself to others. It's not about being better than somebody else. It's about being a better version of yourself each and every day. I believe you call it CANI, continuous and never-ending improvement. And I believe that's a principle that should be adhered to and followed for the rest of their lives. We always talk about, or you always talk about per se, and the instructors talk about, the principles of a black belt, learning them and eventually living by them, continue to strive for that level of I don't want to say perfection, because, we're not perfect. There's only one perfect being in this universe, and we're not it. As far as the adults, continue to set good examples for children, continue to, give them paths, creative paths for their energy, and continue to develop them into good citizens and good people and good family members and good members of society. As far as people that are on the fence of whether they should join or not, I urge you to come in and just try it out. I did. It took me 4 years, but I finally did. And I would put it up there as one of the best decisions of my life. As I said before, I've always wanted to learn, a self-defense, become a black belt. And this is definitely the discipline for me. I've already learned so much, and I've already seen so many improvements in the few short months that I've been there. Stop making excuses, because like myself, I had thousands of excuses as to why I couldn't or shouldn't, or, whatever the case was. And all those fears were alleviated once I walked through the door and saw how supportive your staff was, how supportive yourself was. Just like I said, constant encouragement, constant improvement. It's just a great atmosphere all around.
Wow. Thank you so much. I gotta tell you, this has been one of the more enjoyable and edifying interviews I've ever got to do for this podcast.
I appreciate that.
You're a really, really awesome guest to have on. Thank you very much. Keep up the great work. And
certainly will.
And I totally appreciate you sharing it with such transparency, your experiences and what happened. I think especially your experience before the experience, right? It's going to really be helpful to a lot of people, because
for sure.
How often do we probably do that, right? Like it's all got to start with an action, and the action, the decision to take action, and your story just personifies that. So, thank you so much for sharing your time with us today, Chief. And we will.
My pleasure.
We will see you back here at the dojo real soon, I know.
Yes, sir. You have a good day. Be safe.
Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye. Take care.